what happens to those that share the hidden knowledge in a digital format where previously it was done on a more...
It depends on the knowledge, because if it's interpreted incorrectly, they could lead a lot of people into darkness.
People could be used to lead others through the technology.
They may understand it a certain way and understand something incorrectly. And when they start spouting it on YouTube or anywhere else, other people sense some of the truth, but then when they get into it, it's actually like a bastardization of what was really meant. And so those people get drawn closer and closer into like a cult-like atmosphere, a whole, versus someone that actually knows how to interpret the knowledge. That doesn't happen. It's just the people that misuse it for their own self-service uses, gaining more followers, pretending to know something that they don't know anything about, or just having a grasp of vocabulary and being able to spout hundreds of words a minute, and people think they know what they're talking about. They really don't.
Well, let's take hard-hitting and in your face, for example, that particular media outlet and that particular individual. It seems like he's come under a certain amount of influence and shifting towards, recreating and inverting and copying other people's material and figuring out what works, what sells, what people want to hear in the alternative media, and then dishing that out. And then people not even calling him on his... Even if they call him on his BS, they still watch him because they're addicted to his delivery, maybe. But just, there's a whole, paradigm to why people watch certain people that openly lie to them.
People, they want to feel the energy of somebody else.
Charisma.
They don't like their own energy. So when he yells at them, they feel like they have his power.
So even if they criticize him, they'll keep watching him because he's delivering that energy.
Yeah, because it makes them feel something, so they keep watching.
The illusion of success, right? Because I notice he's doing more of the I'm successful thing. Bitcoin.
Well, also, people want that illusion of success too. Illusion of being rich. Illusion of knowing things, like in politics. Because basically, someone can take something and, rehash it and copy it and distort it. But they themselves didn't write anything, and no one ever does any real journalism these days. They see what's already out there, and they put their spin on it. Then they throw it back out, but they throw it back out in a way that makes people addicted to the message of that person only. Doesn't mean that they're saying anything.
Right. Could there be forces working through them that can help them craft their argument to be something that's more believable, to give them that insight? Or are they thinking also in their own mind that it's just them and their own talent, that they're really talented at marketing? Could they really just be a vessel or a channel for something else, whether they know it or not?
Well, the problem with some religions is that when someone has a talent, they may automatically say, because of what they've already been programmed to say, God gave me this gift, so I'm going to use it because it's God-given, so no matter how I use it, it's going to be the right thing to do. And that's where the distortion happens. A lot of talents people have aren't gifts from God, they're things that they already knew, but they just forgot. So they're attributing their whatever talent and wisdom to something outside of them, giving all the credit to a religion or to a minister or somebody else that has more power. And so all of their work then becomes, I have to use this talent in a manner that, supplicates this deity or that deity, because they're the one who gave me this talent, and not giving themselves any credit. And so all the work that's being done, I can collect this many followers, like, and collect this many sheep, because that's how my religion says it's the right thing to do. If you're a sheep, if you're a lamb, something like livestock, then you're on the right path. If you're creating your own congregation of people, then you're on the right path. See, in that kind of thinking, there's no morality or ethics. It's just, this is what they're doing in the church. This is what this deity professes. And so if I do it, then it's fine. No thinking involved. I just have to copy that deity. They gave me my talent, and now I'm successful. But I'm playing on these other attributes that other people have that are in line similar deities. You know, if you say something that goes in line with what they're saying, then you're collecting people that are in line with that kind of thinking. And then you're harvesting their money, their attention, their energy, versus, you know, if somebody says they're successful like that, their money is coming from the public, or they got lucky. They didn't actually create the money themselves. They might have a talent, but the money still came from the public. So if they say, I'm successful, I did it myself, that's completely untrue. They had help from their audience, all those eyes and energy that saw them on the computer or the TV. And so even when a person like that goes and watches that person and they say, I'm successful, I did it by myself, that person could have known that guy saying it for years and could have known, oh yeah, they got money from people before, and then suddenly they forget it. Oh yeah, he's successful by himself, I believe him. You know, it's just instant forgetfulness. They don't remember anything from a month ago, a year ago, so they have nothing to compare it to. It's like that Animal Farm book by Orwell, where they keep changing the motto and the animals don't remember what it was like to be free. You know, all animals are created equal. I forgot what it said, and then it said all pigs are created equal. It just kept limiting the equalness, but no one could remember how it used to be, and so they were all just going along with it, and they ended up in the same, you know, prison that they were in the first place with the farmer. I think that pretty much wraps it up on like people just forgetting everything they ever have done in their life and giving credit to things that are outside of them. Like, I know I'm good in a talent, but I don't say this talent was given to me by this deity, because that would be untrue. It's a talent that I worked on. If I just say I have a talent and it just appeared out of nowhere, you know, that's completely false. Like, you have your video abilities and you had an interest in it, doesn't mean that it just appeared when you arrived on the planet. You know, the deity didn't just give you your interest in video. Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to that.
You know, on his videos, it says Jesus improved my life tenfold. They had all the other previous videos deleted, so like a bunch of that to build it up, and then Bitcoin after that. And so in someone's own mind, it could be like a benevolent God that gave them that and led them this and led them that. But in reality, it could be something else that's been using them as a vessel the whole time. They could really think it's a part of, because of their upbringing. Their upbringing may not have been aligned with the truth to begin with. There could have been, and so we think about like a whole incarnation of people, like from the get-go, are given a false understanding of how it works from their actual parents.
Well, that's where it starts getting into like stuff people don't know about, like the occult, because whatever deity you were mentioning that they're attracted to, that's giving them these perks, it varies from religion to religion. Like, you know, I know all the religions say, okay, there's only this one deity, but there's also religions that break off of other religions, and they supposedly have a deity, but what they don't really have one. They have a really insatiable thought form that they create with the groupthink, and that's where it starts getting occulty. It's kind of like going into magical practices of not like regular, you know, witch shop practice, but actually creating one's own deity as an offshoot of a different religion, and then feeding it by collecting members. And I think that's a whole other video, because that goes into thought forms and astral and dream realms. You know, just like the I forgot what that was called, like the people that saw the vision of that soldier in that old was it legend in other part of Colorado. Supposedly the Indians had come to attack a village, and then the villagers soldiers were so scared that they prayed and prayed for some kind of help. And what happened was a soldier appeared in the sky.
San Luis, Colorado.
Okay. A soldier appeared in the sky and scared off the Indians. Now, if someone were just to read that legend, like it was a legend and there was some magical miracle, yeah, I mean, that's one way to just stop it at miracle, and that's how you explain it. But with other forms of understanding, a person that knew, they would know that those people created a temporary thought form, which is possible to do in some ways, which goes into like a more...
that they manifested it.
Yeah, they
We'll have
manifested
to make a separate video.
That's a separate video because it starts going into magic practices. And I say magic loosely because it's not magic. It's an understanding of how energy works, which I do a lot. People that say magic or miracles, they just don't have an understanding of a more complete picture of how things work. And when I do something, I do it more scientifically and study the effects. And so when I see a legend like that, I say, okay, those people with their mass output of energy created a hologram on the matrix, and it wasn't necessarily like a saint or a miracle, which is kind of nice to feel like you have protection. But if you had that kind of power and you're giving it away to an unexplained miracle, because once you call it a miracle, you can't replicate it. Like, oh, it was a one-time miracle, now it's a legend, and now we're reading about it years and years later. But no one knows how to replicate it because they're just that it was a miracle at the end,
Collective thought can bring life then to entities, potentially, whether they know that or not, whether we know that or not. And that can have different repercussions depending on how it's used then, how the mind is used.
Yeah, and that's something I've studied a lot.
The internet, for example, could create potentially, archons, other entities, other forms, other demons. The internet in and of itself can seem to function like an entity, both one that influences mankind and one that mankind influences.
Now, there is a problem with the uneducated creation of entities by a group or a religious sect, that entity can become self-aware, yet still require the energy of hundreds. And so that entity becomes a parasite on the initial group and then keeps seeking out more followers, more and more followers to grow in size. So there's always a drawback to creating things recklessly without wisdom. I know something, I'm gonna make a group out of it. This is the deity. And at first, it goes well, but then the deity becomes self-aware. Deity, quote unquote deity, thought form. And at the highest levels, they turn into what's called egregores, which is a self-aware, autonomous entity created by a group of people.
We'll have to come back and continue this thought.